Hey, this is Stu Schaefer, and I'm going to show you the best exercises for weight loss and burning off body fat, especially if you're a woman, and double, especially if you're a woman in menopause. I'm going to rate all these from best to worst, so you're going to want to stay till the end and see if you're doing the wrong kinds of exercise and how to do this correctly so that you don't cause your body to go into a lockdown mode. Now, the problem that most people have is that you start doing exercise and all of a sudden it's like, I'm exercising, but it ain't working anymore. And geez, I have to do like hours a day. I'm burning out. My joints are falling apart. I'm breaking down. I have injuries. I can't do this anymore. Or you're like, geez, it takes so much time. I'm doing it like 2 hours a day. What the crap? How do I do this? And look, I'm going to tell you, you don't need more than 30 minutes a day. None of my clients do more than 30 minutes a day, and they'll lose 20 to 30 pounds in 12 weeks. I'll give you an example. Jamie, for example, you can see her change that she made. And she was one of those ultra exercisers, bought a Peloton, was doing all the exercises, trying to do the classes and push it and high intensity this and that. And when we scaled down the exercise to make it easier and less, she actually lost more weight. So what happens is when you're exercising too much, especially as a woman, this has a tipping point. There's such a thing as too much. And if you go over that tipping point, it will actually prevent you from burning fat. You'll end up burning off more muscle. Guess what happens when you burn off muscle? You slow down your metabolism. All right. Now, I do have an in-depth video about what heart rate to do the exercise at, how long to do it for, depending on your age and how much weight you're trying to lose. I'm going to link to that video right now. You can check that out too. But let's take a look. Let's go through these. I'm going to rate each one and we're going to talk about them. So there's two main types of exercise: resistance training, also called anaerobic, and aerobic or cardio type training. Now, look, I'm not doing a list of every possible exercise out there. I'm probably going to get comments about what about this and what about that. I'm just going to go over some of the main types that you and I would have in our lifestyle. I'm going to rate them and tell them maybe how to incorporate a blend of these because you might like it. You know, and if you really like something, that's valuable. That's important. All right, let's go through these. So let's look at the resistance training. We've got weight training, okay? Lifting weights. And I'm going to rate these on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, all right? So weight training for women. Is this good? Is this not good? Well, this might surprise you, but I'm actually going to rate this a 10 out of 10. Probably one of the single best types of exercise you can do. Why? Because it tones your muscles. It actually helps make you more insulin sensitive. It speeds up your metabolism. It helps with bone density, balance, and strength. It helps, it causes your body to release HGH, human growth hormone. This causes you to burn fat. It also has an anti-aging effect. So weight training is probably one of the best things that you can do. Now, next we have a boot camp. Well, what's the difference? You know, well, a boot camp versus weight training. Weight training, you go into, you're working out with weights. It could be at a gym, it could be at home, and you're doing specific exercises for your muscles, for each muscle. And so maybe it's not quite as intense as the boot camp. Boot camp might be doing full body, jumping, some sprints in there, push-ups, these types of things, and still maybe using some weights as well. Could be in a class, okay? Like a body pump or something like that, which was popular back in the day. A P90X kind of a thing. Okay, how would I rate the boot camp? Well, I'd probably give this maybe 5 out of 10. Why so low? Isn't it the same as weight training? No. This is so extreme and so intense that it can oftentimes have the opposite effect. It can crank your cortisol up so high that you actually get what's called muscle wastage. You actually burn off a little bit of muscle. It's so stressful on the body that it sets you back. It doesn't help you like the weight training does. It could be so extreme that it actually causes injury. It strains your ligaments and tendons. So it's not the same. All right, now we've got yoga and then Pilates. Now I know there's a lot of other things, but these are kind of the main ones, like I said. So yoga would be, there's two types. There's just body weight yoga. There's more intense yoga where you might actually use some dumbbells. How would I rate yoga? Well, I would probably give it close to, we'll call it 7.5 to 8. I feel like yoga is really great. It's good for functionality, it's good for balance, but it does lack some of the benefits of the weight training. And some of those benefits would be more functionality in terms of how you're lifting things, muscle development, how much it's going to cause your HGH, your human growth hormone, to increase, how much it will actually develop all the different muscles specifically, which can really help with the metabolism. It could really help your aesthetics, can really help with insulin resistance. So it's pretty high. Okay, I think yoga is wonderful. And I'm going to tell you how I would incorporate it. Now, if you're watching and you love yoga, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's wonderful. And if that's the only place you're getting your resistance training, I think you're doing great. I do think if you added some weight training, it would be even better. Okay. Now, what about Pilates? I would give this about the same rating. Okay, 7.5 to 8, maybe even up to an 8.5, because if you're using the reformer and you're doing some other things, there's a lot more different motions that you're doing under tension, using that muscle all the way through, not as static as some of the yoga positions are. But still, again, I've worked with so many women over the last 20 years who were only doing yoga or only doing Pilates, and they were missing out so much with the weight training not being there. Okay, so if I were to say, well, what's my opinion, okay, of the best routine? There's no best one routine. And honestly, the food and the mindset for losing weight and changing your body is so much more important. I'm going to splash up a video really quick up at the top, which really gives you an overview of the food and why it's the most important. I would watch that for sure. And then at the end, we'll splash up some other great videos that you'll want to watch. If you're just doing yoga or Pilates and you love it, that's great. It's going to have a wonderful impact. I feel like you're not complete if you're missing the weight training. And if you're one of the types of people who love yoga or Pilates and you do it 2, 3, 4 times a week, I would find a way to incorporate weight training maybe 1 time a week. However, in my opinion, having worked with thousands of women over the last 24 years, aesthetically, the best results we've seen time and time again, nothing can compare to this, is if a woman is weight training at least 2, but preferably 3 days a week, and adding in yoga and Pilates once or twice a week. And they get a nice even mix. When you combine these 3, now notice boot camp's not really coming up anywhere because the weight training is far superior to the boot camp and you just don't need it. The only reason that I would recommend someone do a boot camp is if that's literally the only way that you're gonna do any kind of activity, is if you sign up for some type of a boot camp. Now, let's look at the cardio. We've got HIIT, high intensity interval training. I'll rate this about a 3. In terms of fat loss, I would never do it. I would never do it unless you absolutely 100% are in love with it and you're a woman under 40 and you for some reason that just gets you going and that's the only thing that you want to do. Otherwise, I would never do it. What about classes? Well, I give classes about a 4. Why? Most of the time they're too long and they're too intense. These would be things like spin classes, the Peloton classes, things that last more than maybe 30 minutes and are trying to get your heart rate up really high because they think that the higher your heart rate, the more calories you're going to burn. That's not how the weight loss works. And if you're still unclear about that or you're new to this channel, I'm going to splash up a video right now all about why you should not restrict calories to lose weight, why that's a myth, and the better way to lose weight, the better way or the best way. But that'll absolutely, these HIIT and classes can absolutely cause too much cortisol, muscle wastage. They can slow down your metabolism. They can cause you to go into lockdown mode where you stop losing weight. And I've seen this for 20 years where women are doing great working with me, they're losing weight, and then they incorporate these things and they push it too hard and then they stop losing weight. Or I've met many women who are doing these things wondering, why isn't it working? I'm burning all these calories, I'm tracking it, I'm in this deficit. And as soon as they stopped doing these things, everything clicked and they lost weight. Okay, running, well, that's about a 2. Okay, the only time I think you need to run is if a bear is chasing you. I mean, you just don't need to do that. Now, if you're an athlete and you're training for an event, because that's part of you, you're like, obviously if you're a professional athlete, but if you're a legit athlete and you're like, look, I'm running because I want to do this activity. I want to compete in a run or I want to compete in this sport. And yeah, I understand, it's appropriate. But for aesthetics, for fat loss, you don't need to run. There's no reason to do that for fat loss. Now walking, this is what I would rate the 10 right here. That's all you need. Could you do biking? Yeah. Could you do an elliptical? Yeah. Could you do stairs? Yeah. You could do anything, but the key is really the right heart rate, the right intensity, because what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to burn the fat without overstressing your body. This is the big deal right here. This is going to create way more results than the cardio will. So if you're going to do cardio and you think, oh, that's the key to fat loss, it's not. And if you're going to do it, I would recommend the walking, not these. These will actually slow you down and in many cases prevent you from losing weight. So much better. See, the myth is a lot of women say, well, I'm not going to do weights. It'll make me all big and bulky. And that's not true. Now, if you're eating incorrectly and you're doing the wrong kind of weight training, that could happen, but it's rare. But if you're doing everything else correctly, no, what it'll do is it'll make you look slender and tight and lean. So when you do lose all that body fat, you'll look super compact, you know, just really, really like most women want to. You'll have nice definition. So if you're wearing a dress or, you know, a sleeveless tank top or something, you'll see that beautiful, the lines in the arms, and your skin will look wonderful. And it's just so much better. We're going to splash up our next video. You absolutely want to watch this. We're coming out with some cutting edge video lessons. You just won't find much of this online. Some of this is counterintuitive or either counter to what you might hear, but this is really what's working. And like I said, I've been working with clients for 24 years, women over 50, and this is what really moves the needle. Anyway, we'll talk on the next video. I'll see you there. Take care.